for step 22, attaching the uprights, there's actually quite a bit of stuff to do in this step. So first off, we've got this steering tie rod that we need to get to the right length. Then we have to pop in these C9 pieces inside those arms. Then you can see that we're going to screw them down into these uprights. And on this side, we're going to be putting in the ball bearings, replacing the metal bearing that the kit comes with. And then we have this arm here, which is going to attach to both sides. And of course, that's the piece that I think is going to be fitting onto the servo. And so then we've got our uprights attached to that front axle. So here are all of the pieces that we're going to be needing for this. And you can see all the hardware, all the plastic bits. So again, there's quite a bit of stuff to do on this step. So I'll set this up and we'll start working on step 22. So first off, let's get this arm adjusted correctly. So if we grab the two adjusters, I can start spinning those on. Make sure it's going on level. Yep, and I'll grab the other one. Same thing, we're going to spin this one on. Now once you get it to a certain point, you can use both sides to actually do the rest of the spinning. Now I can tell that this is a bit of a tighter fit, and I'm not sure whether one is spinning or the other, but we'll just keep twisting this back and forth and see. But you can see that one side, well, they both more or less look like they're going on correctly. So let's just keep spinning here. Yeah. I'll keep spinning. But you can see that the distance that we need is going to be 38.5 millimeters between the two. And I think I've actually just done that a little bit too much. But if we put this on, it should be pretty much correct for size. Because that's the other beauty of Tamiya's instruction manuals, is often their pictures are identical. Or I should say, the pictures they have on their instructions are usually exactly the size that you want. So I'm just spinning it back, making sure. But, you know, I also like to check. So if this is supposed to be 38.5 millimeters, that's going to be 38.5 millimeters. So we're looking at, if I go from the end to the end, that's 39. Oh no, that's about right. If I look at the end, 39, yeah, it's almost correct. I mean, according to that diagram, we're at the 38.5, and if we look at this, we're at, it could be 38.5 actually. So I'm going to leave it for now. I think that'll work. So that part is done. So now you can see we need to pop in these pieces right here into those arms. So I'll grab my pliers and we need to take one of them and use our tweezers, and we're going to pop that in. There we go. So you can see how that's free to move around in there. Now what I just discovered is that actually you only need one of those, and you can see that in terms of the positioning, there's one that's flat, and this side should actually be up and down like this. So you can see we're seeing the eye hole, we're not on that side, so it should look like that. We see the eye hole, but not on that. So that's more or less the correct positioning, because that one is going to fit onto one of the uprights, and this side will fit onto the servo for the steering. So that part actually is complete. We're done with that. So I'll put that back for now. So we've done those bits. Well, now if we look at these C19, these pieces here, these are our axle hub pieces. So you can see here, they want you to put one of the bearings on this side. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to put that bearing in there, push it all the way down. So there it is down there. And then we grab one of our axles, and there it's going to sit right in there. Now, because again, I've decided this time around, I'm actually going to give this a little bit of grease around the hub, despite the fact that these are ball bearings. But I'm just going to give it a little bit of grease all the way around. Not a lot. And we'll put that back in there. So you can see how that's going to sit. So that will sit just like that. And of course, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if we grab our bearing, put it in, pop it down all the way, grab our axle, and do a little bit of grease there, and a bit there. Again, I'm not going to put a lot on. I just want to have a little bit there. Because as before, I've said I don't normally put grease on bearings, but this time around I have decided to do so. It feels very, very smooth though. This is great. So you can see that those are the two sides. So we've got our tie rod done. We've got our axle hubs done. Now what we need to do is attach it to the main axle, which is here. So I think when we're working on this step, I would rather get these pieces attached to those axle hubs first before attaching it to the axle housing. So I think what we'll do is let's start with this side. We have a step screw that's going to go into, let's see, into there. Whoops. Into there. And it's going to go onto the end one, not the inner one, but the outer one. And we're going to need to screw that in. Now I'll just get this started and make sure that it is level, which it is. Now that's screwed in all the way. There we go. So that's in place. Now on the other side, we're going to attach it to the outer side of this one. So same idea. So we're going to grab our step screw and attach it to the outer hole. There we go. Just going to do a quick check to make sure that that is in correctly. Yes. And this side. Yes. So there we go. That is now attached. So then if we do this side, let's see, do that side first or this side? Now we still need to get that one on, and I think I want to do that. I'm going to do that part after. So let's attach this. You can see that we're going to need to work on the axle now. We need to grease this up, and we definitely are greasing this part up because this is part of the drive line. There's no ball bearings, so let's just get it as greased up as possible. Then we're going to take our axle hub and slide that on. And now you can see that they want two of these. I guess they are still step screws. One's going to go in from the top, one's going to go in from the bottom. Now, I'm not going to go all the way yet because I want to make sure that the bottom one is in correctly first. There we go. And we'll screw this in now. All the way. Screw this one in all the way. And there we have one side. So now it's just a matter of, we've got to grease up this side and put the step screws into that as well. So again, we're going to grease this up. I might even put a little bit in there this time. And we'll stick that in there. There we go. And again, we're going to put a step screw on the top. And I won't do it all the way yet. I just want to make sure that it's going to go in okay, which it has. So we'll do the other side. So that one is in, and now this one is going to go in all the way as well. So then it looks like that. So you can see that those two main ones are attached that way, but then we now have the servo piece that's going to attach to the arm that will make this possible to steer. So we'll do that now. So if we grab the screw, which you can see is going to go into there, so we've got that movement. We're going to grab C13, that's going to go into there as well. And then we will attach this to this inside hole on that axle hub. So if I hold this, I will start to screw this in. I gotta make sure that it's somewhat level here. Let's just check it. Yes. Now this has to be screwed in a fair ways, but the only thing to make note of, it does tell you do not over tighten this. So I'm going to make sure that this gets to the end point so that everything is together, but I am not going to over tighten it. I just want to make sure that it's at the end, but I don't want to go too much farther than that. Yeah, still a bit more. Still a bit more. And there we go. So there is our steering tie rod in place. So you can see that this piece here is obviously meant to help with the stability of the front end, but this is ultimately going to be your steering arm. So once the servo is attached to that, it's going to be moving both things back and forth for your steering on this. It's a very cool design. So anyways, that is it for step 22. We've completed that. So we're going to move on to step 23, which is attaching the front arms.